of the world. Oh, my people, seek the truth, avoid the evil. Learn Yahweh's ways. Torah Life Ministries.
Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson with Torah Life Ministries, and it's time for this week's Torah portion, and we're up to Parashah 36. So we're strolling right along, and this week's reading is from Numbers 8:1 to 12:16. And in this week's reading, there's just so much to cover here, and I'm really excited because the more the better, right? And there's so much great information. And so it goes from Numbers again 8:1 to 12:6. And we're going to look at first, it says here in Numbers 8:30, it says that Moses was told to tell the people of Israel that acted in accordance with everything that Yahweh had ordered. So it was about accordance or obedience or sticking to the word. So Moses was telling the people, but the people that were acting in accordance were set apart from the people that weren't. The people that were being obedient and following the guidelines, they were the one that received blessings that others didn't. And when we talk about the guidelines and the instructions of our wonderful Creator as they're found in the Torah, it goes beyond just some of the things we've been talking about already in terms of our health and in terms of our dress and modesty and in terms of the distinguished jobs of each particular tribe and what they were to do. But we see here again in Numbers 9. In Numbers 9:2 it says, "Let the people of Israel observe Passover at its designated time." It's designated time. And then it goes again and says in the next sentence when that designated time was, the 14th day of the month of Nisan, which is in our calendars the month of April, but it says, and it goes on to say, at its designated time, right again in the following sentence. So that's two times in a row right there. It says at its designated time. People don't understand that the scriptures are all about appointed times. And there's these appointed times that our Creator has given us in His guidelines and instructions. And if we stick to those appointed times, we are on His plan and we get the result that He wanted for us. And that's how we receive the blessings that our Creator has in store for us. But the more we go against His plans, then we start suffering from the sorrows of this world in every area. So He has these designated appointed times, and He tells us when they are, and He tells us how to identify them. It says at dusk, by the sun and the moon, that's His timepiece. So it's not difficult to follow because the instruction guide is there. If you're looking for a treasure and you don't have the map, you're not going to find the treasure. But if you have that map, it's going to lead you right to the treasure. Well, we have the treasure. It talks about the designated times. It talks about every single thing we must do to receive the treasure of Messiah and the blessings of that. And it also says something very interesting here that stood out to me in the next verse, or in a couple of verses later. It says that they were waiting for an answer. They asked Moses a question, and it was about somebody being unclean because they touched a corpse or somebody. They were asking, are these people still to keep the Passover at the same time or not, because they're supposed to be separated from the community? And Moses thought he knew the answer. The answers were pretty clear in the answer. But Moses did something that a lot of us don't realize or know how to do today. It says here, in Numbers 9:8, Moses answered them, "Wait so that I can hear what Yahweh will order concerning this." So Moses said, you know what, before I give you an answer, let's wait and see what Yahweh says. And that's something a lot of us don't realize today. It's called patience. We jump to conclusions, or even when we know the answer, we jump to the answer. We don't wait for Yahweh to confirm it. But Moses says, wait so I can hear what Yahweh ordered concerning this situation. Amazing wisdom and patience that he had at Moses. And that's what we need. We need to slow down and just wait, even if we know an answer, and wait and ask Yahweh. Well, Yahweh, tell me, am I right? Am I on the right track? Am I not on the right track? And when He says, ask and you shall receive, He's talking about the answer. There's still an action that must take place to experience the wonderful blessings that He has for us. But if you ask Him, He will answer you, and He'll give you the answer you need and tell you the action that you must take to be blessed. It's not about asking you shall receive and He's going to give you all these blessings and everything else. No, the action must take place. It says in the scriptures, if you do the things that he told you to do, he will bless you abundantly. So that action has to take place. The New Agers think there's no action needed. They say, ask and you shall receive. No. You ask, he answers you, and in his answer, he tells you the action that must be taken, and then you receive. So, there's so much here. It's just amazing. It goes on to say here in Exodus, in Numbers 9:20, it goes on to say, according to Yahweh's order. According to Yahweh's order. So powerful, but yet so simple. He gives us the guidelines and instructions on what we need to be doing. Then it goes on to say again in Numbers 9:23, at Yahweh's order, they traveled when Yahweh told them to, and they didn't when he didn't. They followed his instructions. How simple does it need to be, folks? How clear does it need to be? He's given us the guide, and we need to follow his instructions. All right, we were talking about the designated times and the appointed times. Well, it goes on to say again right here this week in Numbers 10:10. Also on your days of rejoicing, at your designated times. It says it again, at your designated times. There's times for everything under the heavens, as it says in the scriptures. And I wrote a book called The Daylight Diet that talks about the times we should be eating our food. People are eating way too much, too often, and too late. We need to follow the instructions and guidelines of everything and not pick and choose. He's given us the appointed times to rest and be awake, to eat and not eat. He's given them yearly, he's given them monthly, he's given them weekly, and he's given us daily. And that's what the scriptures are loaded with. But if you never read them, you're not going to find them. The designated time are designated by him. The time on the clocks, they're just man-made time that just confuses people because of the daylight sickness time and all this stuff. No, his time never changes, and it's always different every single day because, man says there are 60 minutes in an hour, but that's not what the scriptures say because the sun and the moon rise and set at a different single time every day. That's why the days are longer in the summer and shorter in the winter because he has a plan. Just look at this. The produce that grows in the summertime is lighter, and when we eat it, it digests easier. And there's more hours of daylight to actually eat it. But in the wintertime, the produce is heavier, and there's less hours of daylight, so there's less hours for us to actually eat it. So we have to stick to his designated time to receive his blessings. But then it goes on to say here in Numbers 10:29, it goes on to say that Yahweh promised good things to Israel. Well, who is Israel? Israel are those people that keep his designated times. Israel are those people that have every desire to follow his instructions and guidelines. You, my friends, for watching this video and taking action to his word and asking what those actions should be, desiring to seek his guide. You are Israel, and it says here, he has promised good things. And anyone that knows Yahweh knows he can't break his promise. Praise Yahweh, that's a great thing. It goes on to say here in Numbers 11 a whole bunch of more things. It says, but the people began complaining. You see, the scriptures are a wonderful record or history book. And they talk about how to receive the blessings and also how people got the curses based on their own actions. And of all the actions the people had, with all the signs and the miracles that Yahweh created, it goes here to say in Numbers 11:1, but the people began complaining. Well, they didn't even begin, they've been complaining. But it says they've been complaining about their hardships. And when Yahweh heard this, he was angry. He was angry. They were complaining, and then it says here in Numbers 11:4, the mixed crowd that was with them grew greedy for an easier life. Isn't that just like people today? They're just complaining and grumbling about their hardships, and they just want an easy life. Everyone wants the easy life. Well, folks, the blessed life is what we need to be looking for. The joy that comes with the blessed life, and that comes by following the distinguished times, the guidelines and the instructions, the treasure map that Yahweh gives us. It says here in Numbers 11:10 that Moses heard the people crying, and his anger and Yahweh's anger was flared up. Folks, we're to keep Yahweh, happy. That's part of the covenant. And how do we keep him happy? As we follow his guidelines and instructions without complaining. We follow them with joy. It says, my commandments shall not be burdensome to those who love me. So we follow those, and we are blessed, and he blesses us. But it says here that Yahweh, He will promise you good things always, and He will bless you. So, it goes on and on this week to talk about all these things, but we do not want to get Yahweh's anger flared up. We want to keep Him just happy. That's His covenant. We follow His word. We follow His guidelines, and He blesses us with the amazing, great health and blessings that He has to order. But the standards of this world have come so far away from His word, and this is why so many of us are suffering today. The people started to criticize Moses, and Yahweh says, no, don't criticize my servant, because I told him what to do. Because if you criticize him, you criticize me. And in the scriptures, when we talk about the guidelines and the instructions, and people try to live against them or criticize them, they're only bringing it on themselves. That's what they're doing. Because, if you criticize something that I'm saying that's coming from the Word, well, you're criticizing Him. If something's my opinion, that's one thing, and we all have our own opinions. And when you criticize the Word, you're criticizing Him. So we have to look at all these things this week, everybody, and understand that Yah is nothing but great blessings, and this is the treasure map right here, the Bible, folks. And it's the greatest things in life are free, because you can get this free just about anywhere. Praise Yahweh, everybody. All right, this is Paul Neeson with Torah Life Ministries with this week's Torah Parashah. Everybody have a great day, have a great week, have a great Shabbat. Yahweh bless you, and shalom, shalom.
Come out of the world, oh my people, seek the truth, avoid the evil, learn Yahweh's ways.